the NFL draft. Let's address some medical misperceptions and how medical evaluations actually work for the NFL draft. This is Dr. David Chao, Pro Football Doc at Sports Injury Central, sicscore.com, taking time out between surgeries here to explain some things. Is Evan Neal failing a physical? Is anyone failing a physical? What do reports from private doctors mean? How does the evaluation process work? First of all, there is lots of misinformation during the draft that's leaked out by teams, misinterpreted by reporters, scouts leak things, and the medical world, very little is known. As a former head team physician of the Chargers for 17 years, I've actually attended over 20 NFL combines, done the evaluation process, and let me try and help interpret for you. Misperception number one. Very few players completely fail or flunk a physical. Look, they got to the combine by being one of the top 330 or so prospects. They didn't get there by not being able to play football. So the fact that they can play football means almost all of them pass a physical. There's a rare exception of a kid with a heart issue or a neck issue or anything like that, but it's usually rare. Certainly players can have low grades if they have arthritis in their knee, or they can temporarily fail, i.e. if you have a torn ACL, you fail the physical today, but that doesn't mean you can't play NFL football. You can get it fixed in return. Or you're still in the rehab recovery process. You may fail a physical today, but that doesn't mean you forever fail. And that's why we actually have recheck combines 6 weeks after the combines. In any case, what happens is that very few players completely fail. Now, do some players get taken off of a team's draft board based on medical without actually failing? Yes, if they think there's a significant medical worry or they're not worth the risk medically, they could get taken off a team's draft board. But with that scenario, they're not technically failing, although the reports to media, etc., may be they've failed, but that doesn't mean another team can't take them. There are lots of famous examples. Maurice Hurst from Michigan was said to be undraftable because of a heart condition, and he was drafted by the Raiders, played, and has had a reasonable career. Evan Neal right now is said to have medical issues. But look, medical evaluations are not always the same from team to team. That is fallacy number two. Just like one GM may say this is the first pick of the draft, and another GM says this guy isn't even in the top 10, there are differences of medical opinion. This is why medicine is an art, not a complete exact science. Look, we all know if something is absolute, but there's usually a lot of gray area, and it depends on how a team looks at that player. So not all medical evaluations are completely the same. That is fallacy number two. Number three is letters from private medical doctors, even surgeons on a case, are really meaningless to teams and team physicians. One might think, well, if the doctor that did the surgery has cleared the kid and says he's fine, why they would know better than the team physician? Here's the issue. Because of HIPAA, privacy, doctors can never say anything about a patient without direct permission from the patient. You think the player is going to allow the doctor to give a mediocre or negative report? No, you're going to get a glass half full report. Has any personal trainer or workout guy said his athlete doesn't work hard? No, that athlete always is the hardest worker or the quickest healer, whatever it is. So those are all, biased evaluations. And guess what? Team physicians who actually can see players, who actually can examine players, who can see medical records, surgical records, pictures, all imaging studies, make their own decisions. That's why they're there. They don't rely on another person's opinion. Look, a GM will make his own choice as to who to select. They're not reading the newspaper to see who should be selected or who their team is mocked to select. That's not influencing the decision. Same for team physicians. There's also a lot of misinformation out there, misinterpretation of information, but hopefully this straightens it out. So number one, lots of misinformation. Number two, very few people fail the draft. Number three, the independent or personal physician letters don't make a lot of difference in terms of a team's evaluation. Hopefully this will help you navigate draft day medical issues. Medical is a real thing. If you're red flagged, red dotted, or yellow dotted back in my day, the GMs would consider it. But sometimes they would say, that's just too much talent. We'll take the medical risk at this position of the draft. It's one data point. I used to tell people, and I tell people all the time, the medical grade is like a 40 time. If he's got a slow 40 time, it's like a bad medical. Does that make you not take a player? Look, if the GM decides the player has game speed and it's worth the risk, he'll take that same player even with a slow 40 time. Same with medical. Very few absolutes in terms of what's out there. Everyone makes their own judgments, and we're here at Sports Injury Central, sicscore.com, to help you with all of it. Thanks for watching.